Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Friday call. This is a good chance for us to get on as an agency and go through some basics. Today, our guest is Samantha Chamberlain. Thanks for jumping on, Samantha.
Sure.
It's really exciting to see their massive growth. I think they had a record month this month. You and Cash did 60,000 issue paid volume for the month.
Crazy.
Congratulations. And they hit vice president. So they have really been taking our agency by storm. They've been not holding back as far as their investment. And we want to talk a little bit about today about what her and Cass have been doing to really energize their agency, energize their production in light of the fact that they've got 3 young kids and they're really making it happen. So again, thanks for jumping on, Samantha. Let's go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit, Cass and I were discussing this last night, and I definitely have a few major points I want to go through that'll hopefully help everybody get to where they want to be as far as their production on a weekly basis. And I mean, it's nothing you haven't heard, but I am going to try to elaborate with a few extra tips that we've kind of developed with our system and helping us to get where we want to be. But if I had to tailor it all down, it's reps, right? Getting in the reps and making sure you have the appointments is really what it boils down to. But Cass really brought up, he said, well, that's all well, good and well, but when you really think about it, it's mindset, right? And mindset of 30 appointments. So when I started thinking about that, anyone that knows me, I'm sort of a naturally bubbly person. I'm like, the glass is overfilling all the time, and Cass sees it as a flood, right? So we're very much a balance of a yin and a yang. But I started thinking about what it was in the mindset that really got me to understand this business in the beginning. And what it was really, I was at a job before this. Cass and I both came from a different insurance company, and we were doing fine there. We really were. I was considered a pretty high producer there. Cass was just getting started, but he actually worked at another company even before that, years before. And we were doing well. But before I got into insurance, my husband, Cass, was going to school, and he was at a private university, and I was in a corporate job. So I got my master's in marketing way back in the day, and I was a marketing manager for a multi-brand franchise company, $1 billion company, and I was working normal, 40, really like 55 hours a day, a week, and my boss was incredibly demanding, and I actually did the numbers again today trying to figure out what I made, and I was bringing home a whopping $4,100 a month while Cass was in school with our 3 kids. So we naturally went the wrong way and went into debt because our child care bill was like $1,800 a month. So it was literally half our income just to have our kids taken care of, not to mention have a house or pay the bills or feed our family, any of that. So we slowly over the last 5 years went into debt. So when I came into this business, we always say we were like, let's either win fast or lose fast. So we listened to everything Jack said and just really invested hard very, very early and tried to prove the system right or wrong. And the only way you can do that is by following it to the T. So that's what we've continued to do on a daily and weekly basis. But when you think about that, I was in a job that, on paper, title wise, was really impressive, right? Back then, if you look at it from a corporate perspective, it should have been pretty impressive. And I'm still making $4,000 a month. And making 6 figures is hard. I think that's what it boils down to, right? We all want to do it. We're all here because we want bigger and better things for our family, but it is hard to make that kind of money. And I think that's the first step you have to make in your mindset is that this is going to be difficult. It's not unachievable. It's very achievable, but you're going to do hard things, right? You're going to work long hours, but it's all for you. And you're not going to make $4,000 in a month, right? You're going to spend that on leads and you're going to make way more money than that. So the first thing was making 6 figures is going to be hard, but it's so worth it. So then I started thinking really what made me make the jump. And it was a progression, right? When we came in, we really cared about production. And then over about 3-month period, we realized why we had to build an agency. So I want to share my screen and actually go through a year in the life of an agent that's really doing the job. I'm going to share my screen, and this is just a little visual I put together to help kind of, use this this was what my mind did. And it took me a minute to get it on paper. Can everyone see my Excel sheet? Yes. Okay, perfect. So a year in the life of an agent that's doing minimum 20K. And why do we say 20K? 20K, anyone should be able to do 20K, no matter their skill level, whether they're coming in unlicensed or licensed. If you're working a full schedule, 20K is like the minimum you should be able to do if you're investing properly in your business. So when you look at it from that perspective, if you only produce at $20,000 a month for a whole year, your advance is going to be $15,000 each month, right? Ish. Now, I'm not going to complicate it with chargebacks and all that, but that's minimum if you're doing your business right, which I'll get into the tips on that here in a minute. But when you get to month 10, this is where Cass and I were like, yeah, we like this business, right? 10, 11, and 12, you start receiving your residual payments. So that $5,000 that you were not advanced here is going to start to pay out in month 10, 11, 12. And then you hit month 13 and you're going to start to see some renewals. It's not huge, right? That's not where we're in it for, but it's money, right? It pays the food bill. So month 13, this is what it looks like. And, again, simplified, because anyone that's in this business for 12 to 15 months is not going to just do 20. They're going to slowly inch up, even if their activity doesn't change, because your skill will increase. But it's kind of a good way to look at it. You're going to be making steadily more money every month. Now, let's look at a $30,000 agent, which is what Cass and I right up front were like, that's what we need to be doing, right? So we really pushed hard to get to this level quickly. This is sort of what it looks like if you're doing the same thing, just a producer at a $30,000 production per month, which honestly, the investment in leads is slightly different, but it's not entirely different. It's a matter of activity between these two levels. So it's completely achievable, right? Cass and I've been doing 30,000 since we got on board, and we spend on average between, in the beginning, 1,200 to 1,500, and now we're inching closer to 2,000 a month. But again, we also did 60,000 last month, so it's working. So same thing, but you notice that the residual payment now, instead of 1,600 in month 10, is 2,500. So by the month 12, your residual payment is 7,500 a month if you have this on a continual basis. So you can see that as a producer, you can absolutely do this business and be a producer. Makes perfect sense. This is the best income you'll see in any job across the country for the work you're doing, 50 hours a week or whatever. But we have all these other ways of making money, right? We have 5 ways of making money in our company. So that's where in month 2, when I was producing at this high level, I realized it's hard, right? We're working really hard. We're doing a lot of appointments, and it's tough, and it's going to continue, but I have to continue, right? There's nothing that's, it's long-term sustainable if I continue to produce, but I'm not growing a business. That's where in month 3, we realized we have to start investing in our business. So overrides is the next way you make money, right? So this is just a simplified model. Let's say in month 9, you've been doing 30,000 and you enjoy it. And this is literally what happened to us, only we started building in month 3, and we started seeing residuals in like month 6. But I'm sorry, not residuals, overrides. But if you started in month 9 and you started recruiting back here in month 5 and 6 and building up your team slowly, not only are you going to see your residuals from your production that you can put towards your business, but also your overrides are going to start to kick in each month. So you can see where your income on a monthly basis is increasing from there. All good and well. And this goes up as you build your team, right? Again, simplified model. If you only, this is basically hitting $100,000. This is an override based on a $100,000 agency, which is pretty much super easy to do because you get 5 people doing 20K and you're there, right? So it's not real complicated. And this is on a 5% override. So this is no spread at all. No spread at all. That's why this business is so great. And then the 4th way is bonuses, right? And honestly, I don't even understand bonuses super well yet, but I know that they're non-charge backable and that they basically supplement your business and complement your overrides. So as you grow teams and you grow people that also do as well as you do, they get to come out from underneath you and they supplement that loss of override by giving you a bonus that you never lose. So when I realized all of this in my mind, that's when it just became super clear to me why we had to have the activity level we do. So I just wanted to share that real quick with you guys before I jump into my major points. Achieving 30 appointments a week is got to be your first goal. And we all know the main thing. So I'm not going to get into that, but you need to be investing in your leads every week. Like I said, we started at 1,200. We never do less than 1,500 now. And honestly, we're really closer to 2,000. And if you've been to any conference, every big producer is spending $2,000 on leads a week. Okay. But they're making what? 50,000, 60,000 in production, and they're funding their businesses. So it's easy to just say that I'll be a producer and not invest in my business, but that's the key, right? We want to produce, and we're pushing ourselves harder and harder and harder every day because we want to make more production to be able to fund the businesses of others. So that's what Cass and I are focused on, is every dollar we're making, we're trying to recruit and build all these teams underneath us because we have a ton of talent. So when you're looking at an agency perspective, as you're bringing people into this business, you really need to be looking for the people that want to build, because they were just like you. You know, we didn't have anything, and we were lucky we had Jack, and Jack really helped to push us to make the right calls early on so that we would grow our business. You know, he would give us a couple agents here and there, even though we weren't ready. You know, he was like, oh, I'm putting this person with you. And we're like, what? We don't know what to do. He's like, oh, it's fine. You'll be fine. You know, and he kind of handheld us in the beginning, but following that model, you know, we constantly do the same thing. So now we're recruiting, we're footing the marketing bill at this point for our team, but we're putting everyone under all of our other teams because we want them to grow and have the same opportunities we did. And that is something that takes time, but you only get there by having your 30 appointments and funding your business, right? You can't do it without 30 appointments. You cannot do it. 20 appointments will not do it. It just won't. And you won't do that without $1,000 a week, period. When people always ask me what's the best lead type, I truly believe it's a variety. We have a very large variety of leads. We buy those new aged final expense dollar leads. I've sold one of those. Awesome. 100% return. It's crazy. Or 100 times, 100x, I guess, not 100%. That'd be $2. But we buy the dollar leads. We buy the 3-month-olds. We buy the 1-month-olds. We buy the instants by the hundreds. Anytime there's instance, I'm purchasing those immediately. I've got mortgage programs locked down. We're trying to get more mortgage programs locked down. The variety of leads is what helps us to have a sustainable schedule. You know, because some book easier than others, and some you can get a hold of easier than others. But no matter what, we are always calling our leads. So I thought would help is go a little bit. I also preset. So the key, number one, have all your leads you need early. Right? Like you should be buying your leads on Thursday for Monday, because flow can just stop. And what are you going to do if the flow stops this week? So Texas, we're having this issue right now. Flow is just slow in Texas. Game Time struggling. Happy Leads is struggling. CRM's not keeping up. We just don't have the supply this week. But luckily we, prepare, and we have these mortgage programs in place, and they help us to smooth our curve when we have these lulls in the CRM. But if you don't prepare weeks in advance for that kind of thing, then you're going to have a week where you just don't make any money. Well, that doesn't work, right? You got to have constant flow, especially over the year, your first year, you really have to plan. But I preset on Sundays. So because my Mondays and my Tuesdays and my Wednesdays are so focused on all these different building activities, presetting on Sunday from 1 to 5 is huge. Plus I go into Monday with 5, 6 appointments. So whenever y'all are like shocked that like, how did Samantha get 15 appointments by 1 o'clock? I didn't, right? I got 8 or 5 or 7, but I had 5 from the day before. I didn't start at 0, right? Put the odds in your favor. Preset on Sunday when people are happy and they're home and they're just relaxed and they're kind of bored and they're answering their phones, right? Nothing stressful has happened yet. So they're a little more amenable, and they're going to book for your Tuesday, and they're going to show. We also started double booking. So I wanted to actually show you how we run our schedule, because that's the key, right? The schedule. So what does it actually look like? Let me show my screen. And everyone can do that. It needs to make sense for you, and you need to be comfortable with the format, but this is how I've chosen to do it. So we use Excel and we put it in the OneDrive so we can just access it on our phones. But this is what our schedule looks like, and we kind of do it each month. So every day we fill up our appointments, and we, number one, most important thing, we rate them. right here. This is our rating for our appointment. If they listen through the whole thing, but we're kind of like, I don't know if they really want insurance, I'm going with a 2. If they sat there and they understood what we were doing and they listened through all my stuff and they went through all my tie downs and they wrote something down, it's a 1. Anything that's a 2 or a 3 is like, ooh, that's a quick set. You know, it may or may not happen. I'm double booking those if I can, right? Every time. That way I have someone else to see. So you'll notice here, I've got 2 9s. And then down here, we've got 2 we've got 2 1s. And we do this every time we go out, but we also notice we never have less than 10 every day we go out. And we work as much as we can. And I mean, we'll come out with 13 appointments some days. So April 15th. And then we mark them right here after it's all done. So we know what the lead type was. Look at all these 1s. This was a good day, but we only sold 2. Sad. Either way, it's great because 2 sales were, look, this was Jesse. Oh yeah, this was a great day. It was like 4,000 AP. But we had to do a lot of work, right? So all this to say, when you call and say, I got no-showed all day, yeah, it happens to all people, including big producers, right? We get no-show, we can't find the address, even though we validated it on the call. Like all kinds of stuff happens. And it's just like what happened, you know, that's the business. So I thought this would be helpful to see. This is how we kind of run our schedule, and it helps us to go back. The last thing I do on this that'll help you to solidify your business is once this is done, I go back at the end of the week and all my solds, I turn them green after they've been sent a thank you card. So our thank you cards, I ordered them on Vistaprint. They're very simple. They have a cute little note inside. They have a little picture of us, and we put a little business card in it. And we say, if you guys have any more, questions or have any family, our note says, if you have anyone in the family that needs assistance, call us. We're constantly hitting that referral button. So how do you get more appointments? Number 1, buy a lot of leads and set a lot of appointments. But number 2, in the house, you have an opportunity, right, to close on referrals and make sure your business stays on the books, right? It's easier to keep book business on the books than earn new business. So at the end of every appointment, we're always doing the 3 dead flies. And P.S. Chase Marshall did it, and it worked like a charm. If this isn't something you really need, and I always say it this way too, I make them visualize their bank. So I'm like, if you're going to look at this bank every month and see this amount and frown or cringe a little, then we're too high. We need to reduce it. If you're going to look at this and smile and feel good about your protection, we're in the right zone. How do you feel about this? When you look at this on your Chase mortgage, when you see your Chase bank statement next month, how are you going to feel? And they say great or no great, and we'll inch it down 5K or whatever. But first thing I do is make sure that it's going to be the right amount for them every month, right? And at the end, I build value. So I say, thank you. I also wanted to say, if something happens to you, I want you to put please send my number to your beneficiary, put it in Jean's phone. Because if an emergency happens to you, I want Jean to be able to call me. I don't want her to have to call the company directly and sit on hold on the worst day of her life. And they're like, oh yeah, thank you. And I'm like, sure. Also, if you lose anyone close or a friend or a family member, call me. I'll help you with that claim as well. Licensed in Texas, I can call any company and submit a claim for you. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, no problem. We're here for the long haul. So I just built more value in the relationship. And then I make sure they put my number in their phone. I'm like, if you have any issues or questions about your policy, text me and I'll take care of it for you. That keeps them from calling the company directly and canceling without a conversation, right? And then they're calling me with at least once a week, I think I have a policyholder call me and say, hey, I need you to write up my uncle, or I need you to, take a look at this. My aunt's got a policy, but I think she can get a better rate. At least once a week now. But we only got here by having 30 appointments and buying a lot of leads and seeing a lot of people, right? That's where that comes from. It's not, building relationships by going to coffee shops and spending money. It's working with people, improving value in what you do. The next thing that I think is very important for increasing your appointment schedule is I never let a lead die. So if I had an appointment and they no-showed me, I'm leaving them a delivery note. If you do not own these, you need to talk to your manager and get the design and get on Vistaprint right now. These are gold, literally gold colored, but they're literally gold. I use this is where we started when I didn't have leads, and and Jack gave me some old leads and I couldn't get any of them on the phone and they were all bad phones. I went to Colleen and spent a whole day dropping these off on people's houses, and I saw extra people, and that's what started our business. So I leave those on no-show doors, because then they're like calling me like, oh, you tried to deliver something? And I'm like, yeah, I had the appointment with you. And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, haha, I got you on the phone. I'm coming back. But if that doesn't work, then, you know, we use them for door knocks, we use them for no shows. I use them all the time for everything. I leave them on everything. And they've been very helpful in our business, and they're so cheap. We bought like 500 of these the first week we came in for like $20, and I still have millions of them. It's ridiculous. So they're a great investment. If you're bringing agents on board, I recommend you make that the first thing they purchase, so they don't go out with like nothing available to them. They're like, well, I door knocked. I'm like, then what? Did you leave a note? Oh no, I just knocked. I'm like, well, the likelihood of getting someone when they're home is actually kind of low, right? People have jobs, they have errands, things pop up. Like, you need to leave them a note. Back in my old company, we just used a yellow sticky note. We'd say, hey, be back at 8 a.m. on Saturday. If this time is inconvenient, call me. And everybody called, because nobody wants you at their house at 8 a.m. on Saturday. Like, that's a gold line if you have to do it. I think that if you're doubling up your appointments, you're buying enough leads, you're double setting your kind of middle ground appointments, you're door knocking, you're leaving notes, you're solidifying your business, you're sending thank you notes. And then come the end of the year, you're calling policyholders for policy reviews, right? We're not even there yet. We're not even in month 10 or 11 or 12 yet. That's where the business becomes simpler, right? But you have to give it a full year of hard work to build your book of business. And once you get the rock rolling, it's hard to stop, you know, and that's what we've seen. Like we're not doing anything different. We still buy leads, we still book appointments, and we still go see families. But slowly over time, we're honing our craft. We're getting better at what we're doing. We're purchasing more leads because we realize that it's way easier to just buy more leads versus like bleeding our smaller stocks to death. And we're paying attention to the things that people above us are doing better than us, right? So it's very important to keep that mindset. And if you can't see it, right, if you don't see the income from the beginning of this presentation where it's like what it looks like, I thought it was pretty shocking, the difference between a $20,000 producer and a $30,000 producer, even if you don't build, right? Your income in month 10 is 25,000 versus 16,600. Now subtract your leads, right? At 16,600, you're profiting what, maybe 11, 12? That's still amazing. Now take out your chargebacks, call it 10 if you have a chargeback each month. You're making 10K. If you do that same thing with a $30,000 producer, you take out your leads and you take out everything else, you're making 20, maybe 18. You're literally making nearly double, and you're not even investing double, right? So there's something there with activity and the people that put the activity in and realize that you're not going to make six figures not working hard. All right. That's the key. People think that, well, I bought the leads and I called them, I went and saw the people. And I'm like, okay. Like when I compare my activity and Cass's activity to others, it's like, you're not coming home till the job is done. Like Cass is like, hey, it's Mother's Day on Sunday, by the way, which I didn't even realize till yesterday. But he was like, yeah, I need to come home. It's Mother's Day. I was like, no, you don't. You're in Houston until you make 10K. So, I mean, you can make 10K today, or you can do it tomorrow. Anyway, it got him dialing. You want to know how many appointments he set yesterday? Cass hasn't been on the phone, and it's just been the way it worked out that I've been doing most of the phone calling on the business lately. He hasn't called in a while. So I was real nervous. But I was like, dude, I don't have time to call today. I've got a million agency things to do. Like, you're going to have to do it. He set 19 appointments for Friday and Saturday off the back. We didn't even buy more leads. Okay. So we invested at the beginning of the week. I called all day on Monday, all day till 9:00, and set appointments. He got to see a whole bunch of bad appointments because they were good appointments, but the business, the first half of your leads always seems to be the people that no show you, in my opinion. The easy books are always the ones that don't end up panning out. The second half of your leads that were harder to get on the phone are always the good ones. He spent the whole day calling. He booked 19 appointments, and they're like mega solid. Like people that are like, look, I'm buying a policy from you and I need your time. So he's like, oh my gosh, okay. So he's seeing the magic, but he wouldn't have got there if at the, Wednesday been like, oh, well, I just don't have enough appointments. And Thursday, he kind of like took it easy on dials and like didn't really put his time in. We wouldn't have that opportunity. We would be at 2000 AP, not even making back our leads. The magic happens in the second half of the week. So I think that that's very key, is that, we're not doing any better than any other person. We just work longer and harder, and we make sure that those calls are happening until we hit our goal. And that's it. Like, it's until the goal gets met. And if it helps you with the mindset, it helps me to have goals. And by goals, I mean like a vision of what the future holds. So my vision now is that I want to be at that uncharged backable bonus. That's where I want to go. I want to have overrides, so there's not so much pressure on me every single day, and I can still fund my business. But now it constantly evolves, right? So the last thing I'll leave you with is, when you do start to do these things, be generous, because karma is real. And everything that we do, we put back into our business and into our people, and it's only benefited us. The generosity, like it really has. Like Jack did the same thing for us, and we passed it on. And I think kindness and working to really better people and help them get their businesses going only helps you in the end. So, be generous and be kind and be thoughtful of the people that are coming up behind you, because you were there once and you needed someone to help you. So keep that mind frame, and never be afraid to ask for help. Thanks, everyone. Jack, any questions? Anybody, any questions?
Yeah, that was awesome, Samantha. I took a bunch of notes. I just want to wrap it up by saying, now that you've gotten to that point in your personal production where you guys are doing 30, 40, 60,000 this month, it makes it look like, hey, it's so easy, but it hasn't always been that easy. You had no choice at the beginning except start with internet leads. But the thing that surprises me, when you showed us your appointment list, it's still mostly internet leads.
Yes.
And amongst those internet leads, it's still mostly like no shows and no sales.
Yeah.
But for $11 each to go and sell one, it's like it just capitalizes on it immediately.
Exactly.
And then like you would think, when your business got to a mature point where you were doing 30,000 a month, you would think you might pull back the reins and say, hey, no, I don't think I need to work these kind of leads anymore. I don't think I want to touch those kind of leads anymore. But instead, you went forward and you started buying not only all the instances that you could find, and you literally had to make it happen by like playing games with the click here, buy there kind of thing, but you went and you bought the 1 month old final expense leads, which are only $1. So literally, like some people that get to that 30, 40K mark, like I'm pulling back, you know what I mean? I don't need all these different types of, beginner type leads or less expensive old type leads, but you guys went forward to up the flow. And now I see you made sales. You have a bunch of appointments on 1 month old, 3 month old final expense leads that are $1.50 each. You've got still a ton of internet lead appointments. A lot of them, and look at your schedule. Why do we book 10, 12 appointments? Because we're not going to sit on 10, 12 appointments. It's impossible. But I am going to get no-showed that much. If you look at her schedule, she's got like no show, no show, no show, no show, no show, no sale, no sale. And then like 1 sale, 2 sales. You know what I mean? And then the next day, it's like no show, no show, no show, no show, 1 sale, no show, no show, no appointment.
This day was no sales at all.
So, the number of sits is, it's just part of a flowing business model,
Right.
And the other thing that I think is really important is that, people that are engaging, I see that, we started very early taking care of the basics, which is phone script. And then you started making inroads, both you and Cass run, both you and Cass call, both you and Cass door knock like animals, and you take turns with the 3 kids, right? But at the same time, now you've jumped back on the Dow team, to further engage your team, to further engage your skills. And I'm watching you dial, And everything works a little bit. Nothing works all the time.
Yes.
Everything works a little bit. But Samantha and I are very different styles. Like I'm like on the phone, I'm like, I pretend like I don't like you. I hate my job. I don't know what this is, I just want to get this off to you. And she can immediately build a connection with clients. That's what she said. She builds a connection with clients and you can hear it. You can hear it on the phone. You can hear it in the way she describes her presentation. To use a lack of better words, like a basketball player, you got game. You've got thought process behind it. You're like, this is what people are thinking, and this is how I can get to better know them, and this is how they're going to better like me. And you can hear it straight up on the telephone. People are like, okay, Samantha, what time are you coming over? Like that's an approach I never try to get friendly with them until after we get the appointment. And then I can make them laugh a little bit and say, I look like Jackie Chan. I'll be there at 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? But she's like all about that, and it works for her. So that's why we all have our sweet spots. You have to evolve your game so that when you're on the phone and when you're in the home, you build that engagement. She also mentioned the words value and relationship. What are you doing to build value in the relationship so that the people actually feel as if they're getting some sort of service, that they're working with somebody that they like and appreciate and trust and want to write a check to, right? So and it's all backed by massive, massive activity, right? They're doing 60,000. They've done 60,000 this month, and Cass has been out, running around 4 hours away, and they're still putting back into their business building. So I'm really excited that you were able to share that with us. We're excited to see where you go with the agency and your business. And okay, everyone, if you have any questions, let's take them offline. Reach out to myself, Samantha, Cass, or any of the stronger team members that want to give advice back and make it a great week. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Samantha.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.